So today we will be roasting some of my old poems. Okay, so for context, I'm working on my book. Hey, it's a poetry collection, and I will be including some of my old poems. Of course, I'm revising them because some of them are really cringy. Like I looked at this today and I was like, damn, I'm like ashamed of myself. Okay, so for context, pink room. That's my room. My room is pink. Well, not right now. I'm like somewhere else, but my room is pink, and there was this one instance wherein there were worms in the ceilings, bro. This so here's like the roof, okay, and then there's like space, and then there's wood. That's like the layers of the ceiling. And one time there was like a hole. Like I don't know, maybe like there was some like animal that like dropped an egg or something, and that like maybe the roof had a hole, and then like some maggot egg or whatever like dropped in that wooden thing. But one time there was a hole that was poked through in that ceiling, and so a maggot like a worm fell out. Real story. And so this poem is about like my connection with that room. So another interesting thing about that room is that there's dried paint like everywhere on the floor, and that's because I do paintings in that room particularly. Like so there are just dried paint all over the floor, and I wrote this during a time that I was feeling like severely depressed, and it felt like the paint would dries up or something. And then I was drawing also from that experience of like a worm falling out of the ceiling. So that's the context. That's the context. We'll look at this poem right now. Okay, so let's read it. My world is in fluorescence, cold, artificial, and hospitalesque. I search for meaning within the confines of a 4 by 3, decorate the walls with paints and grand and upholstery. I find mirrors hidden by honeycomb cracks, reflecting worms falling down the wooden slab into the sienna floor, dripping with acrylic and broken glass. In the shelves of books, you'd find all the dreams I've dreamed and those that have died, the words that shape me, the advices I've stripped and scrapped. For what is the meaning of the meaning of the meaning of the days that swing like pendulums back and forth and back? The maggots before laid eggs that will dive into my bed again. The floor will fill with more drops of paint until all there is wet. Okay. So what I like about this poem is the feeling that it evokes. Essentially at the very end when the maggots will like lay eggs and it's just gonna be like shit all over again. I think it is successful in being able to evoke those feelings, but at the same time, it's just this poem is just technically not good. It's getting there, but it's just not good. For example, there are some minor grammatical mistakes like advices, and this is really lazy. What is the meaning of the meaning of the meaning? It tries to employ repetition to for intention. It's you can tell that it's intentional, but for me it doesn't work because it feels kind of lazy instead of it being like impactful. Another thing, my world is in fluorescence is for me it's too melodramatic when you say my world is like it's so over dramatic. I think what makes a poem like good is if you have something that's specific, if you're not just dishing out a very vague imagery. And this poem is good when it comes to imagery, but just the first sentence, my world is in fluorescence, it's too melodramatic of an image for me. And then the second, cold, artificial, and hospital-esque. Cold, artificial, and hospital-esque does set the tone, but it's for me it's weak. Like the word cold is weak in this particular. Like, what do you mean that it's artificial? Like, you are telling me that it's artificial and not showing me how artificial it is. I also hate that there's a rhyme here, 4 by 3 and upholstery, but then because it's a singular rhyme, like it feels isolated because nothing else in the poem rhymes. It's not free, it's freestyle, like free verse, like everything. And then there's just this like one random rhyme. So this is how I'm revising it. I'm gonna read it. I will throw you in my cell, or maybe in my room. I'll throw you in my room. Come in, come out. At first sight, mirrors. Mirrors hiding honeycomb cracks, displaying the drip of maggots, splattering into spilled acrylic and former mirror glass. Then, 10 bookshelves. Language like beads of a future, too intricate for realization. Covers blotted, well used, unkempt, served, orange spine. The paint is rising from the floor. Charted glass drowning. Hints of black hair, missing aglets. In the midst, however, my body, spine swinging back and forth like pendulum, feet tapping, nails flicking through the books. What else is there to do? The worms are dead, engulfed by pigment. Soon the shouts, soon myself and you. I'm sorry for the mess. Obviously, after a few years, I'm gonna look back at this poem and think that it's also shit. But for me, this is a lot more technically superior than the first version of the draft. And first of all, you have a theme here. I will throw you in my room is a lot more specific than my world is in fluorescence. It's like it sets the reader as an intimate person that the narrator knows because like come in like you're getting invited, and then these things that were mentioned here like mirrors and books, they become stations because you're being toured. So this is like the mirror station. This is where the mirrors reflect the falling of worms from the ceiling into the floor. And I also use here former mirror glass, and it's intentional to like oh it used to be like look at this has so many mirrors, but also some of those mirrors have fallen. Like why? It gives off mystery. And then bookshelves. I really hate this part. I just don't think it's technically precise in the previous poem. You'd find all the dreams I've dreamed in those that have died. And there's a way to say stuff melodramatically. I like dramatically, but like still subtle, like still in a way that respects the reader's intelligence, like that they can like get your message from being implied rather than told. Um, like, oh yeah, this book shaped me, but like some of them I didn't follow. In here, it's a lot more implied. Language like beads of a future that is too intricate for realization. I think that's very poignant. Oh my God, I'm like facing myself. I'm so poignant, gosh, but like it's basically saying that there are these books that are like fantastical, and they feel fantastical because they can't be true. It's like this world wherein there's a happy ending is a fantasy. And there's still the very vivid image of the paint rising from the floor. And it's referenced is it the first time that it's referenced here, and then it's also referenced at the end. So you can see that it's actually inching up, and that image was missing in here in my previous poem. So it's a lot more abstract. It's a lot more in the mind. Meanwhile, this is a lot more like you are physically there seeing these things, and it's going to engulf you. You're going to be engulfed by the paint rising up, and it draws from that feeling of claustrophobia. Okay, so that is me roasting my old poem and showing you my revisions, and maybe you can do this with other poems as well.